exciting, and it
This is Just Keep Breathing with your host, Richard Curtin.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. I can't hear a thing. Can you hear anything?
Nope.
Nope. Me either. I can't hear a thing. I can't hear a thing. I can't hear. I'm better. I mean, it's better.
There, that's a little bit better.
It's a little bit better. So we'll just hopefully we're talking. Hi, everybody. It's Just Keep Breathing. It's Friday, August 24th, 2012. My in-studio guest today, Get Equal Texas.
North Texas coordinator.
North Texas. I cannot get that right. The North Texas coordinator for Get Equal Texas, Daniel Cates. How are you, Daniel?
Wonderful. How are you?
Oh, you know, I'm good.
Good.
You know, when you and I were talking on text about what we were going to talk about today, I want to rant and rave about the crazy bullshit that's been going across people's lips for the past 3-4 months. I'm just really dumbfounded by some of the things that people have been saying. Were you making a point? So, the first thing I want to talk about is it is virtually impossible to get HIV from heterosexual sex.
Virtually impossible.
It is virtually impossible to become HIV infected from heterosexual sex. Now, that was a statement made by I have all this stuff at home, and I didn't go home today. A GOP leader and Tennessee Senator Stacey Campfield. That is correct. Yay! And did I get the quote right? It is virtually impossible to become HIV infected through heterosexual sex.
Virtually not completely, but virtually impossible to contract AIDS through heterosexual sex.
Yeah, I'm really pretty close. Virtually not impossible, but virtually impossible. How can someone, especially a Tennessee senator, be that misguided? And I also want to point out how reckless
It's incredibly
is a statement.
reckless. I mean,
Is a statement like that.
Think about all of the young people. There are thousands and thousands of young people who are going to hear that and and believe it and go out.
Why should I wear a condom?
Yeah.
Why should I wear a condom? I can't get AIDS from heterosexual sex. My senator tells me that.
Exactly.
And where else is he saying it? How often is he saying it? So this is what I mean by ranting and raving. I feel better already because I want to call this man an idiot. I'm sure he's not, but I think that statement is idiotic. I also want to call this man reckless. I want to call this man, I just want to call that man an idiot.
Right.
I mean, really, seriously. How idiotic is that statement to you?
It's pretty idiotic. And I would say it actually kind of destroys my faith in the electoral system that someone that idiotic could actually run a campaign and win a public office.
Yeah, well, I was pretty upset about Rick Santorum actually getting votes.
Right.
And I believe some of the statements that he made were equally as idiotic. Rick Santorum said to a Vermont high school body, and there were other people involved, but he said that children with a father in prison
Are better off than
are inherently better off and better loved than children of same-sex parents. Where did he get that information?
You know, I've thought about that one for a while actually, because it was just that was really
Reckless.
It was really reckless, and you know, I think that a lot of that was really him just talking out of his ass at that point, because I think that a lot of these leaders know that some of the people, not all, some of the people that will vote for them are so bigoted and so anti-gay that really they'll you can say anything. You can say anything and they're going to agree with it and they're going to vote for it, and it's just going to make him look better in their eyes. And that's really what's sad is these senators, these elected officials are doing these things and saying these things because they know there are people who want to hear that. And that's really what's more concerning than even what they have to say, is the fact that there are people who want to hear that, who that's what they need to give someone their vote. And that's to me the sad part. But
Okay, well, I want to ask you a question.
okay.
Do you really believe that they are saying that to get votes? Or do you believe that they are saying it because they believe it?
I don't believe that any person could legitimately, or at least any educated person, could legitimately believe some of the things that they say.
I believe that they believe it.
I don't know.
I really honestly believe that this person, Stacey Campfield of Tennessee, believes that it is virtually impossible, not impossible, but virtually impossible, to get AIDS through heterosexual sex. I believe that he believes that is the truth.
Well, then he is sadly misinformed. I mean, I think that you can look at statistics from all across the country. Yes, it is prevalent. It is a higher percentage in the LGBT community, but
In the United States,
in the
maybe.
United States, but
And the highest growing of infected people, the highest community affected by it are black women
right,
that are straight.
right.
So how are they getting it? How are they getting it? And recently, someone that was close to me said, well, I don't really practice safe sex because I'm a top. And I said to him, well, you can't become infected because you're a top? And he said, well, the chances are really slim. And I said,
where
well,
do
then
the bottoms get it from?
then who's giving it to all the bottoms? And he just kind of looked at me, and I just said, please don't be an idiot. Please don't be an idiot. If you choose to not have protected sex, don't qualify it with stupid, misguided information.
Right.
Just say, I own it. Really, just own it. Just say, I choose my sex bareback. I choose my sex raw. Whatever. And you know what? You can.
And then accept the
And you
consequences
can.
for that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But please don't qualify it with some ridiculous statement like, I'm a top, so I can't get HIV.
It's amazing to me personally, after the decades that we've been dealing with this disease, that there's still so much misinformation out there. Even in the LGBT community, which has been one of the communities that's been just absolutely decimated by this disease, there are so many young people who have no clue about how it's contracted,
But
how
I
to
don't
properly
think that
care for
is the
themselves.
community's fault. I don't think that is our community's fault.
No.
I really think it's our education system not allowing and not being willing to talk about sexual behavior.
Well, absolutely. And look at the school books in Texas. What does it say exactly? I think I can quote it. It's nobody knows what makes a person gay or straight, but what is known is that homosexuality increases your risk for HIV and AIDS infection. That's what the school books say.
Oh.
So yeah, I would agree. It's a problem with education.
It doesn't say that that homosexuals that are male are generally highly creative and fabulous people. That's what I think it should say. You should be fabulous if you're gay. In fact, you will be fabulous if you're gay. That's what it should say. Okay. So, we have Stacey Campfield from Tennessee saying that you cannot get HIV from heterosexual sex. Then we have all of the Chick-fil-A debacle.
Yay, Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A. There were a lot of things that came out of Chick-fil-A. Do you feel like it's over? Do you feel like it's kind of run its course?
I think it's I think it's dying down quite a bit. I think that we made our statement.
Did we?
Well, in some ways yes, in some ways no, because if you look at what the media did with that,
I think it was one-sided, and I think they
went
won.
very much about the whole freedom of speech thing, and it was not about freedom of speech in any way, shape, or form. It was about the fact that Chick-fil-A takes the money that you give them and gives it to organizations that, for example, the AFA, that are helping to pass a law in Uganda right now that would make it legal to kill gay people. I don't think that message was ever fully conveyed in mainstream media. That's what we're upset about.
Yeah, well, and I think it was. I really do think it was one-sided. I think the media really went with that it was a freedom of speech, and that the Chick-fil-A Appreciation Day was about Chick-fil-A's freedom of speech, when really Chick-fil-A doesn't have freedom of speech.
But corporations are people now, Richard. According to the Supreme Court. Yeah. I mean, that was the point that was missed, was that the gays were not upset with. Well, of course we were upset with what he had to say, but the issue for us was not about that.
It was not the issue for me.
No.
Okay. Let's go back a little further. This crazy priest who says that he knows how to deal with all them homosexuals, put them behind a big fence and throw over some food, and eventually they'll die.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Then we had a preacher, of course, who, well, let's talk about the CFA, the FCA, the Council for Family Research.
Right.
The CEO of that basically said that all homosexuals should just be sent to an island. I don't know if you got confused with an island and Uganda. And basically we should just, we should export them. I think the word was export. What are they so afraid of?
I've never really figured it out myself. I think that in some ways they use religion as a means of control. And I think that our community specifically represents a challenge or a counterpoint to what they have to say. And, we are saying, well, there's other ways to live. And we're okay with that. And we are decent, respectable people. And they don't know what to do with that. It threatens them in some way. And so they feel like they have to. I don't know. Right now, it just seems like the remarks are getting crazier and crazier and crazier. But
do you think? I mean, do people really believe what they're hearing? How many people do you think that heard Stacey Campfield say that it is virtually impossible to get AIDS from heterosexual sex? How many people do you think really believed him? Do you think there are people that believed him?
I think that there are people who believed him. I think that those people probably believed it before they even heard that. So that's really the sad part, is that these people say these things because they know that someone out there will believe them and listen to them. They're not alone, and it's sad.
I really am dumbfounded by some of the statements that I've read and that I've heard, and so I want to know: have you heard the little sermon by this young 21-year-old Matthew Burney? It's on my Facebook, and it's like what you should know about the Bible. It's like 13 things, or something about the Bible. Basically, he stayed out of school and he researched the Bible for like 2 years, and he did a lot of research, and he came up with this sermon, but a little longer than an hour. And it was really a plea to Christians to allow him to be a Christian, to allow him to not only be a Christian, but to marry another man in the church as a Christian, and to follow the teachings of Jesus Christ and the New Testament, and maybe even portions of the Old Testament, and to live the life of a Christian, a gay Christian, and it really is quite moving. It really is. It's quite moving, and it's well done. And he's young, and he's very sweet, and
Matt Barber of the Liberty Council, Polygamy and Incest are unethical. I didn't see it on your Facebook.
on my Facebook page, and I'll show you. So, he, go the other way. He really makes quite a little plea. It's very sweet, and that's it right there. Matthew Vines, and he has a sermon that you need to watch. You can find it on my Facebook page, which is Richard D. Curtin. Every Biblical Argument Against Being Gay Debunked Biblically by Matthew Vines. It's been watched on Facebook for 250,000 times, and it is right under an hour long. It really does. It's the most effective Bible-based argument for gay marriage you'll ever hear. And he closes with a plea for acceptance that's been melting the hearts even of dyed-in-the-wool Southern Baptists. It is absolutely necessary to watch.
I'm gonna check it out.
It gets a little beggy, but because he's 21, completely tortured by the way people have abandoned all of the rules of Leviticus. Mm-hmm. However, he does make a very a strong point that I forgot. That Paul in the New Testament basically says, with the dying of Jesus Christ and the dying, and because he died for our sins, all of the rules of Leviticus are really kind of null and void. And so if they are all null and void,
That would include.
that would include men sleeping with men. However, the point that's really very important about Matthew Vines is, the point is that God's plan was that he created man. Now, and he created the heavens and the earth, and the land and the running and the creeping and all of the creeping things, blah blah blah. And then he created man.
Right.
I love the creeping things.
The creeping things.
And so he created man, and he saw that man was lonely, and so he created Eve. And his point is that in God's plan, he did not intend for us to be lonely.
Right.
And so some of us don't want Eve.
Some of us are perfectly not lonely.
And some Eves want more Eves. And so I think that what he says in this little sermon is very important for people to see, people to hear, and people to listen to. And I find it very sweet. And I was very moved and touched by it. My cold heart was melted just a little. I think I got an ounce of liquid out of my heart.
Aww.
It's very sweet. He's very young, and I think he says he's 21. And the things that he says need to be heard. So we have the Council for Family Research guy. I'm going to move on. We've already talked about how crazy he is. I want to go back to this little child. Did you see the child that was basically coached to sing this song about ain't no homo getting into heaven?
Yes, I couldn't even finish watching it.
It
was disgusting.
I was just so horrified that this young child was really being groomed to be such a bigoted, hate-filled boy.
That child.
To please his parents.
That child, I swear, will grow up to be gay if there is any justice in the world.
It's karma. I mean, what we already know is that he's not afraid of the microphone. So, you know,
you'll be auditioning him for the Rose Room
in about 18 years. So why is that okay? Why do people why do people find that to be okay? Why do people find it okay to allow the Westboro Baptist Church's children to hold signs that are just hate-filled? If I had a child that was 7 and we paraded around, I paraded my child around with maybe even just another little boy, and had them making out in front of the Westboro Baptist Church. I'm talking about another 7-year-old boy.
Right.
Don't you think that they would throw me in prison? Don't you think that the Child Protective Services would come and investigate?
Oh, absolutely.
Why not the Westboro Baptist Church's children? Why not this little child who is really being accoladed and being awarded a lot of affection, more than likely, for for this hate-filled song that was clearly coached? I mean, you can't get a child that young to understand the words that he was singing. He did not write them.
Right. And he doesn't.
Ain't no homo getting into heaven. Does he know what a homo is?
No, and he has no concept of what his words mean, what his words are doing.
Somebody right, somebody wrong. Somebody right, somebody wrong. Ain't no homo getting into heaven.
Cute.
Yeah, adorable. And at the very end of the video, the father, that's my boy!
You know,
It's appalling. And so if I allowed my child to just sing somebody right, somebody wrong, somebody right, somebody wrong, only homos are giving blowjobs in the back lawn, Child Protective Services would knock at my door, I'm sure of it.
probably.
Only homos are getting into heaven. It probably wouldn't go viral. I mean, it's appalling to me. All in the name of church or religion or Jesus. And back to Don Cathy. All of this is really just religious based. And is it all just Leviticus based?
It's I've heard some of Paul's passages used, where he talks about temple prostitution and a lot of the way that young boys were used in that. But most of the time, the very first thing I hear is Leviticus, blah blah blah, and they go straight for the man shall not lie with man verses, and
Yeah.
I've always kind of found that a little hypocritical because it's like, well, a few more verses down it says you can't have shellfish, so enjoy that shrimp cocktail.
Yeah, we'll serve it up. It also, don't eat bottom feeders. Period. I mean, don't eat any shellfish. Don't eat any venison. Don't eat any pork. There's all kinds of. There's all
You can
kinds
eat
of
anything.
things. You can eat. I guess you can eat the limb off of your next door neighbor's child. I mean, as long as it's kosher. I don't know. So, what's going on at Get Equal Texas? I am sure that we will come back to that, and I don't want to get too mad and start getting too yelly. I'm yelly. Yelly, is that a word? Yelly?
Yelly.
Is that like something you get on your toast from a Mexican boy? Here's your yelly. What's going on at Get Equal Texas? Have you been involved with the whole free bow and major?
Yes, I was involved at the very beginning, and then I actually, for personal reasons, handed that over to one of our state leads. But I was involved with a lot of that when it got started. I was there for the initial arrests and everything, and I thought the whole thing was actually orchestrated really beautifully. Got international headlines off of taking a simple stand by just sitting down in the middle of that office, and I really wish more people would just start going every day. Every damn day, I wish there were people sitting down in that office.
I think that if we all went on one day instead of every day, I think that if you just clog up the system and you get everybody to go at one time, at 1 hour, and clog up the system, I think rather than going every day, I think that the system just needs to get clogged up somehow. However, I asked this question to Major, and I'm going to ask it to you. Is it a losing battle? We do not have marriage rights. So we can't be issued a marriage certificate. We are not, we are really asking the marriage certificate giver, whatever her name is,
To break the law.
to break the law. And so, is that what it takes? Is to get her to break the law? She's got to have her job. I mean, because,
You know,
I do think that she wants to issue marriage license. She doesn't care. I really don't think that she cares. I really don't think that she cares. But it's like getting into your car. You got to put the key in it before it gets started.
right.
And if you don't have a key, you can't get the car started. And so the key is to get a marriage license. And so the state of Texas does not issue them to same-sex partners.
Right.
You have to be a bride. You have to be a groom. And so she can't do it legally
Right.
or lawfully. So what is the goal?
You know, I wrote a little bit about this in the Dallas Voice. I wrote a viewpoint, and I opened with, there's no greater proof that a law is unjust than a government worker's tears while she does her job. And she did. When Bo looked at her and said, "We just want to be married," she teared up. And you know, that really struck me. That was the moment for me. I was like, that says it all right there, because I could see on her face that if the law would let her, she would issue that license. You know, I don't know what it's going to take in Texas. I think that really, at the end of the day, it's going to have to come from a federal level. It's going to have to come from the repeal of the Defense of Marriage Act. It's going to have to come from, you know, the courts striking down our laws as, you know, unconstitutional. And that's really where our main focus has to be. But in the meantime, events like what Major and Bo did, and I think it was incredibly brave. I think that they're going to continue to be used to raise awareness. I think that if one heart or mind was changed, because they were respectful, they did everything out of love, and you know, it really, I think it came across that way. They didn't come across as angry protesters.
Yeah, it didn't.
And I think that if one heart or mind was changed by that, then it was a success. And I think that we need to continue to do things like that to change people's hearts and minds. So,
I don't think people's hearts and minds are going to change. I'm tired of that attitude. I'm not really fighting you. What I'm saying is, I think it's angry protesting that we have to do now.
oh, absolutely.
I really think that it's time to fight. I quite frankly am a little tired of the apathy. I'm a little tired of people telling me, "Oh, I just don't want to hear about Chick-fil-A one more time. I am so sick of Chick-fil-A. I just want to eat my chicken nuggets and not have to hear about why I shouldn't be eating them."
Right.
And I want to say, I want to put a bullet between your eyes because you are no good to me. Get out.
There are, you know, there's apathy, and then there's also the problem of there being two totally different schools of thought on how we should move forward on LGBT rights. There are a lot of people who, for them, it's a very partisan, very, you know, let's get the right people in office type of situation. You know, that's the exact opposite of what I believe.
Unfortunately, there are people in office who do not get elected, who get appointed, and there are a lot of people that perpetuate lawmaking, and there are a lot of people perpetuate lawmaking. I think that's funny. There are just a lot of people that are involved that have absolutely nothing to do with voting.
Right.
And we've got people like the CEO of the Council for Family Research. We've got these preachers. We've got this stupid state senator making really reckless comments to people who their hearts and minds aren't going to change. I believe that this young man, Matthew Vines, I believe that his plea and that his arguments made in his little statement of his sermon, I believe that some of those tug on heart sleeves, and he is able
Right.
to have the greatest possibility of changing someone's heart and mind. I can't do it. Nobody likes me. You know, I mean, really, seriously.
That's not true.
Oh, but on that side of the fence, if I go to talk to them, they're not going to like me. They're going to see me as a loudmouth fag who doesn't wear the same colored shoes, that has a ponytail, that doesn't play by the rules. It doesn't play by gender rules. They will not like me. None of them will like me. None of them will want me at their doorstep. None of them will want me at their dinner party, and they certainly don't want me in their home.
You know,
And that's what I mean. They do. This young boy, they want him because, you know, he's a good Christian, and he wants to be a good Christian. Don't hate the sin. Don't hate the sinner. Hate the sin. And so, I really believe that he has the greatest chance to change someone's heart and mind. The only way I'm going to get anyone to change their heart and mind is by putting, okay, never mind. But by being aggressive, by having the information and ready to fight about it.
Right.
And I am.
And I think that, you know, yes, we should
And
be going
I hate to put you in the same boat, but you are in the same boat as I am. And so you and I need to hold hands like we already are doing, but we need more soldiers to come up and hold our hand, not to be apathetic about I don't want to hear about Chick-fil-A anymore. Well,
you know, there's a couple of different camps, though, because there's also the people in our community who, you know, and I've said for a long time that we can't just go after the people who are saying nasty, horrible things about us. We have friends that we, as a community, have put in office who are not coming through for us. We've talked many times about President Obama, you know, and from our own community, the year he's elected in 2008, you know, and Prop 8, you know, passes, and some of us wanted to get, you know, really get after Obama on some of these promises that he's made. What we're hearing from our own community is, oh, he just got elected, you know, give him a little time to get settled. The next year, it's like, well, we've got midterm elections coming up. We can't push him too hard. And then we lose majority control of the House. So it's like, well, he doesn't have the support of the House, so leave him alone now. And now he's got to get reelected. So like every year, there's a new excuse why we can't pressure our
and I think it's apathy. I really do. I mean, I think a lot of people are just, you know, not ready or willing to create any waves.
Absolutely, they don't want to, you know, and that
because
they're so scared.
They don't really even want people to know that they're gay. They don't want people at work finding out that, you know, that they have a male partner.
These are the same people who push these ads for marriage equality and want to show these perfect, you know, look, our families are just like yours. And you know what? I'm sorry, but at the end of the day, we are different. Our community is different, and that is okay.
However, we
should be treated the same as
that we should have
else.
Absolutely the same benefits.
Exactly.
The same. Everything should be equal.
Because it's not about everyone being the same.
And we have to change our perception of it. Because, you know, all of our lives we have been told that we are different. And we accept it. I get it.
And I agree.
do. I am different. I'll tell you. But I might even be the exception. However, we've been told that we are less than. We are being told from almost day one that gays and lesbians go to hell. We are being told that, you know, it's bad. And it is being taught not only by our parents but by our peers, by our teachers, by our government.
And the only way to overcome that is to own it and, you know, say, you know what, I am different. I'm proud to be different, and you know what, I demand that you treat me the same, though. You can be different, but still be treated the same, and that's really what we want. And I think that we need to stop with this, you know, whitewashed, you know, look at how much like you we are campaign that, you know, organizations like the HRC have been perpetuating for years now. I think that honestly, it's kind of hurt us, and it's helped really in many ways to, I guess, diminish our identity as a queer people. For a long time, I felt like I had to act a certain way, dress a certain way in order to be a good gay, quote unquote. And I guess I reached a certain point where now I'm just kind of like, well, screw that BS,
I want to tell you a lighthearted story. It's about being a good gay. I have never been more embarrassed than when I watched the Millionaire Matchmaker on Wednesday night. I turned on the TV, which hadn't been on in weeks, and that's not true, but I mean, not for something. I mean, I watched a lot of news and blah blah blah, CNBC, blah blah blah. But I was watching. I turned it on. I turned on Bravo, and the Millionaire Matchmaker was on, and I said to someone that was watching TV, oh my God, we got to watch this. Sometimes she has gay couples. And she had a gay couple. She had a gay man who's a millionaire and eco-friendly. And he had an eco-friendly clothing line in L.A. And he talked like this. Yeah, I think I'm hot. And I think, I like guys that are hot and, are hot. And he
was like a male Paris Hilton?
He needs to be hot. Yes, he was Paris Hilton. In fact, Patty even referred to him as a male a male Paris Hilton. However, he found a date, and they went out on a date, and he criticized this guy for eating red meat, and that eating red meat was not eco-friendly. And so later, when he was doing his little one-on-one with Patty was like, how dare you criticize him for having red meat? And he's like, oh, well, it's just not eco-friendly to eat red animals.
I want a burger right now.
He was terribly embarrassing. It was so embarrassing. I mean, because he was beautiful. He was very pretty. He had a really pretty body, and you know how they do the one-on-ones, and he was like, well, I'm not sure I'm really into him. It's so obvious that he's totally into me, though. And I was really embarrassed to be a queer. I really was. I was really embarrassed to be a gay man that wasn't so narcissistic, and because the last person I want to have sex with is me. I mean, I don't want to have sex with myself. And this guy wanted to this guy, if he could clone himself, would have cloned himself and had sex with himself. And so I was embarrassed that he was part of my community. I was embarrassed by him.
See, and, that's the thing, is a lot of our community are embarrassed by people who, are bold enough to be, flaming queens, or...
Are you calling me a flaming queen?
Maybe, or even big motorcycle riding dykes,
right? Or the drag queen. I mean, really.
They're embarrassed of those people, and honestly, for me, I'm embarrassed by people who just are vapid, empty vessels who just don't really, they have no clue about what's going on in the world. They contribute nothing.
Well, this guy was eco-friendly. Don't eat red meat because it's not
That's
eco-friendly.
True.
But he didn't know what a red animal was. Do you know what a red animal is?
It sounds like a cocktail, honestly. But
a red animal. I want to meet one. Speaking of, I had a big snake on my patio yesterday. It scared me to death.
That's
I chased it around with a hoe, a garden utensil, not Crystal Summers. And it climbed a tree to get away from me. It was very scary. I hate snakes. Are they red animals? Is it eco-friendly to kill them?
I don't know. I mean, 'cause I've heard they taste like chicken.
I did not kill the snake. I did not kill the snake.
They taste like chicken, so that would make them a white meat.
I've had rattlesnake before,
okay.
and it does. It tastes more like spongier chicken.
Well, okay, see, I've had alligator, and it has that spongier,
chickeny, spongy
taste. It tasted
taste.
like poorly cooked chicken.
Yeah, it did, but it was a little. It is a little spongy.
Yeah.
And sort of flaky, but not really flaky, because it's all kind of connected. I like alligator, but it does taste. I think we should have more alligator-like products.
Right.
I really think we should
have more alligators.
I hate alligators. And when I was really small, On Sunday we watched the Carol Burnett show, and then The Wonderful World of Disney, and then Wild Kingdom. Do you remember that?
Oh, or you sit there and you watch these animals eat each other for an hour.
Yes, and they told stories, but this one particular one was, I saw this zebra, and it was at the end of at the edge of a lake, and it was just lapping up the great waters of Africa, and this alligator or crocodile just kind of like came in really and grabbed the head of the zebra, and I had to be like, I don't know, 6 or 7, and I have always just been afraid that alligators are going to eat me like that. Because, I mean, wouldn't that be horrifying? Is you look down and there's this alligator coming at your head, and then you're going to be dead soon, but...
Well, don't ever visit Caddo Lake. I went camping there a few years ago, and they rent canoes to you, and so we're out canoeing, and they didn't really warn us about the amount of alligators. I mean, I accidentally hit one with my oar. They're just swimming along, but they didn't really bother anybody or anything. So
I am horrified by that.
There were hundreds. It was ridiculous.
I wonder if they're red animals.
I don't know.
I think we should all eat more red meat. And I'm going to get in trouble when I say this, because I do believe that we should be more eco-friendly, but why? Why should I? Who am I leaving it to? At some point, when I'm gone, I'm gone.
Well, and to quote George Carlin, we hear all of this stuff about, save the earth, we've got to save the earth, and he's like, the earth is doing just fine. It's the people that are screwed.
Right, absolutely. What I want to leave behind is a better world for the gays and lesbians that are coming up behind me.
Right.
And it's really about laws and about equality. It's really not about air quality, and it's certainly, and I should be concerned, and I am really generally.
I do what I can.
I have a lot of magazines that are supposed to be recycled, but they're growing, and now it's going to take an act of God to get them out of my garage, because I'm beginning to look like a magazine hoarder. And
do you not have a recycling bin?
No, I don't.
The city will give you one for free. But,
yeah.
And I've been pretty good about that. I didn't think that I would be as good as I am about recycling, but with the bin right there, it actually I've been able to maintain. Every now and then I'm just too lazy to go the extra 5 feet, and I'll just throw it in the trash. But
so all I got to do is call the city to get a recycling bin.
Call the city, and they'll bring you a huge one on wheels and everything.
Well, yay! Okay, all right. Well, and so I do want to make an effort, but really, what I want is equality.
Mm-hmm.
I see young men in love, holding hands, and I want them to be able to get divorced.
Right. Swiftly.
Yeah. I want them to be able to get divorced if, he comes home and doesn't want him anymore. Get out! Get out of my house! I want a divorce. It's not you, it's me. And I think that will help our self-worth. Mm-hmm. I do. I think that in fact, I know. I don't have to make the argument. I know it will. I know if everyone is equal, you start feeling more qualified. You start feeling more self-worthy.
And I had someone once ask, they were like, well, is a law really going to help people's
yes.
self-worth? I'm like, absolutely. Absolutely, because when someone tells you that you're less than, and they can even back it up by, well, look, the law even says so. It's just, and you can't argue that.
What do you know about Paul Ryan?
Well, I know he's evil, but
he's kind of cute though.
He's kind of hot. He is, and I think he might be a bottom. But
Yay!
but
Do you think he is practicing? A practicing bottom?
I don't know.
I hope so.
I don't know. But you know, I think he's an interesting choice. I think he's an interesting choice for
I think it's
Romney.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it's just honestly.
I think Condoleezza Rice would have been an interesting choice. I think Paul Ryan is a safe choice. I think Paul Ryan is
well, if he's trying to solidify himself as like the crazy, GOP, like super crazy candidate, then yeah, I mean, Paul Ryan's the perfect choice.
I think Paul Ryan is safe. And I don't think that it gives him anything. I don't think it brings anybody over. I don't think it puts anybody over the fence. I don't think it gives him any new votes.
I think that Paul Ryan is charming.
Do you?
I
think he's cute. I don't think he's
GOP,
charming.
To GOP voters, yeah, he's got a nice smile. He's got pretty eyes. He comes across
too puppy dog for my taste.
He comes across very, just with a lot more personality than Romney. So people may be a little bit more excited about Paul Ryan than, Frankenstein's monster, Romney. No personality at all. I think that, that was part of it.
I just don't understand how Mitt Romney came from Massachusetts.
I'm not entirely sure myself.
I mean, Massachusetts, it is the first state to pass marriage equality. Massachusetts.
Healthcare.
I just, when I think about Massachusetts, I think of Kennedy's. I think Democrat. I think progressive. I think equality. I think founding founding fathers of our great nation. I don't think Mormon, bigot. I don't think unequal. I don't even think Republican.
Well, Romney himself, when he was in Massachusetts, if you look at it, he was a much more progressive. He was still conservative, but much more progressive. I mean, the health care that he passed through is almost exactly the same thing as Obamacare.
As Barack Obama, you're right.
So I think that he has had to radicalize his views now that he's running for president. I don't think he even believes half of the things that he says. I think that he's radicalized his views to make himself a more appealing presidential candidate.
Can he win?
I don't know.
You have to guess yes or no.
I have to guess yes or no.
Can he win?
Yes, he could win. I think that he could.
I don't think he has a shot.
I don't think he's going to.
I just don't think he can. I don't think American voters are going to vote for a Mormon and a Catholic. I don't think American voters are really buying it. I think when they do go, even the ones that want change, I just don't think that. Okay, so right now the CNN Obama-Romney poll. The CNN poll says that Obama is winning by 49% and Romney at 47%. And so that means that there are 4% of the voters that are undecided.
Just don't know.
And so that 4% could really, and is that 4% coming from Florida? So, which is a major swing state, we know, and Missouri, of course, now. It may be even up for grabs because of what went on with Mr. Aiken.
I try not to even look at those polls, honestly, because, I mean, that's going to change, 25 times between now and the election. It's going to swing back and forth, and some stations are actually even showing Romney in the lead. Fox, in particular, but... and there are, I think MSNBC had something out a few weeks ago, and it was, Obama was 55% or something, so I think that was before the Paul Ryan announcement. But
I just don't think Paul Ryan helps him. I think Paul Ryan kind of solidifies the fact that it is just a little too far out there.
You know, and they're really trying to change the conversation.
I like less. I like less government.
Yeah.
I think we all want a little less government, but
in our bedrooms and our marriages and our lives.
Yes,
that would be nice.
Yes, absolutely. I think we do. I mean, I think we all kind of do. But I think that the American voters really view Mitt Romney and Paul Ryan as white elitists who haven't worked a day in their life. Now, I think they work. I think they work hard, but they have absolutely no pulse of what it's like to be an American middle class to lower middle class. I don't even think they even know one. Any time in their life, have they ever met anyone who, or know anybody personally who lived check to check paying their rent, or who couldn't make their rent? Do they know anybody?
Or who legitimately couldn't afford college and didn't have parents who could just shell out the cash?
So you say he can win. Do you think he will?
I don't think he will. I'm with you. I don't think that the average American voter is going to buy it.
Yeah, I don't think so either. You've been listening to Just Keep Breathing right here on RationalBroadcasting.com. I'm your host, Richard Curtin, every Tuesday, every Friday from 3 to 4 p.m. My in-studio guest, the state regional coordinator for Get Equal Texas, Daniel Cates. Thank you very much for being here today, Daniel.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.